season of binding, though no one could remember who started it or why. Suddenly, Mesmoralia was drowning in weddings. Every day, couples lined up at the registry of eternal things, filing paperwork to join themselves forever in a city where forever had a particularly vicious meaning. The ceremonies happened in the plaza of almost morning, under a sky that had been threatening dawn for centuries. I attended the first few. They were beautiful in the way that doomed things often are. The couples wore white that looked gray in Mesmoralia's perpetual twilight. They exchanged vows written in languages they'd forgotten learning. And at the moment of pronouncement, when the officiant declared them bound, white doves were released from silver cages. The doves always flew upward, toward a sun that would never rise to meet them. It's perverse, Magdalene told me, watching the 12th wedding of the week. She was smoking something that smelled like burnt prophecy. Marriage is about future, about building something forward in time. But Mesmoralia doesn't have forward. It only has now, extended infinitely in all directions. Maybe that's why they're doing it, I said. Trying to create a future by force of will. Or maybe, she exhaled, they've figured out something worse. The couple kissed. The crowd applauded. The doves flew up, 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 and then began to fall. Not gracefully, not like birds who'd chosen to descend. They fell like stones, like bodies, like anything that had suddenly forgotten it could fly. They hit the cobblestones with soft, terrible sounds. Thud, 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 thud. Within seconds, the plaza was carpeted in white feathers and small, broken bones. The bride started laughing, not with joy, with recognition. "It's happening," she whispered, "just like he promised." Part 2, the cherub with the Glock. His name was Erosion, though once it had been Eros. Time had worn him down, filed him into something sharper and more dangerous than the fat-cheeked angel of myth. He had wings, yes, 4 of them, attached to his back in configurations that defied skeletal logic. His face was young, ancient, and everything between, shifting faster than Berkeley's bread-induced visions. And in his right hand, where classical depictions showed a golden bow, he carried a Glock 9 with divine etchings on the barrel. I first saw him on Merchant Street, where the wedding posters had begun to outnumber the Lost Soul advertisements. He was shooting lovers, not killing them. That would be too simple, too final for Mesmoralia. He shot them with bullets that were solid, that went in and came out, but left no wounds. Instead, they left wanting. Pure, distilled, weaponized desire. A couple walking hand in hand. He shot them both. They stopped, turned to each other, and I watched their pupils dilate until there was no color left in their eyes, just black holes of need. They kissed like they were trying to crawl inside each other's mouths, like they could merge if they just pressed hard enough. Beautiful, isn't it? Erosion landed beside me, wings folding with the sound of switchblades closing. His voice was sweet as arsenic. This is what they asked for, He reloaded the bullets in his magazine glowed with a sickly pink light. I'm the fulfillment. I make them so in love they can't stand it, so devoted they'd rather die than be apart. And in Mesmoralia, where death is just another district you can visit, he aimed at another couple, fired twice. The bullets passed through their chests, and immediately they collapsed into each other, weeping with the intensity of their feeling. They're building something, Erosion said. All these bound pairs, all this compressed love, it's fuel, currency. The city is feeding on it. Feeding, but he'd already flown away, wings beating against the twilight, leaving a trail of falling doves in his wake. Part 3. Madame Future's terrible vision. Madame Future's shop was on Paradox Lane, wedged between a store that sold yesterday's newspapers and a restaurant that only served breakfast at midnight. Her sign read, FORTUNES, told FUTURES, sold PASTS, negotiable. I'd never visited her before. In a city without forward, fortune-telling seemed redundant, but the doves were falling faster now, hundreds per day, until the street cleaners couldn't keep up. The corpses piled in gutters, their blood mixing with rainwater that fell upward, and gaslight that flickered with anxiety, and the weddings continued. And the couples shot by erosion wandered the streets in states of ecstatic agony, unable to be close enough, unable to separate, trapped in the torment of insufficient proximity. Madame Future was younger than I expected, maybe 20, though age in Mesmoralia was unreliable. She had 3 eyes, 2 where they should be, 1 in the center of her forehead, vertical like a wound. Adela's a moth, she said as I entered. I've been expecting you, or rather, I've been dreading you. Your arrival marks the moment when I have to speak the secret. What secret? She gestured to a table covered in cards that moved when you weren't looking directly at them. Sit, but understand, once you know, you're complicit. The city will make sure of that. I sat. She didn't use cards. Instead, she opened her third eye fully. It dilated until I could see inside it, could see through it to something beyond Mesmoralia's eternal twilight. What I saw, a city folded in on itself like a dying star, streets that led into mouths, buildings that breathed, and at the center, a heart massive, pulsing, built from compressed love and bound souls, and wedding vows that had become load-bearing architecture. Mesmoralia is dying, Madame Future whispered, and her third eye wept mercury. It's been dying since it was born. Cities aren't meant to exist outside of time, in the fold between twilight and dawn. They need progression, movement, but we've been static for centuries. The vision shifted. I saw the future, the real future, not the false ones fortune tellers usually peddle. I saw Mesmoralia collapsing, the twilight finally failing, the eternal almost morning giving way to absolute night, and everyone trapped inside the soulless, the soul brokers, the searching and the lost, compressed into consumes something potent enough to buy another century, another millennium. The weddings, the weddings. She closed her third eye, and I was released from the vision. Love is the most concentrated form of forward momentum. It's about building, creating, continuing. Two people promising future to each other. And when you bind that many couples, shoot them full of artificial devotion, intensify their feelings until they can't survive without each other. And then, the pact, she said, it's already begun. The couples are making them voluntarily. They come to me, to others like me, and they ask, what happens if we die together? If we leave Mesmoralia as one unit, bound so completely that the city can't separate us, what do you tell them? I tell them the truth. Their combined love-death will release enough energy to feed Mesmoralia for years. I tell them they'll become fuel. I tell them the city needs martyrs. She looked at me with her two normal eyes, and they were full of something worse than despair. They were full of complicity, and they do it anyway, she whispered. They smile, they thank me, and they go to the bridges, to the towers, to the high places, and they jump together, holding hands, shot full of Erosion's impossible devotion. And Mesmoralia swallows their deaths and lives a little longer. Part 4, the first pact. I found them on the Bridge of Sighs, a young couple I'd seen get married 3 days prior. They stood at the railing, looking down into the chasm of Never-Was, the void beneath Mesmoralia, where discarded possibilities went to decompose. They were holding hands. Their eyes were still black from Erosion's bullets. Don't, I said, though I didn't know why I bothered. The bride turned to me. She was radiant, glowing with the kind of happiness that couldn't exist in nature, only in laboratories, only in weapons. We're not sad, she said. We're not even scared. We're full. Can you understand? Every moment we've spent together since the binding has been ecstasy and torture. We love each other so much it's destroying us from inside. So separate, I said. Let Magdalene remove whatever Erosion put in you. No, the groom spoke now, his voice dreamy. This is what we wanted. To love so completely that we become a single thing. And the only way to complete the transformation is to die as one. Then we'll never be apart. Then we'll be together in whatever comes after Mesmoralia. Nothing comes after Mesmoralia, I said. That's the point. That's the trap. They smiled at me with identical expressions. Then we'll be together in nothing, the bride said. That's still together. They climbed onto the railing. Behind them, the sky began to rain doves, dozens, hundreds, their small bodies pelting down like hail. Erosion was flying overhead, shooting couple after couple, loading the city with ammunition. Wait, I grabbed the bride's hand. Madame Future told me, the city is using you. Your death feeds it. You're not escaping, you're being consumed. We know, the groom said gently. She told us too. But here's what you don't understand. Adele is a moth. We don't care. We'd rather be fuel for Mesmoralia's eternity than live in the regular world's grind. least here, our love means something. Literally, it powers a city. They jumped. I watched them fall, hands clasped, bodies pressed together, until the chasm swallowed them. And I felt it. Everyone in Mesmoralia felt it. A surge, a pulse. The gaslights flared brighter. The twilight deepened, became more stable. The city fed. It would feed dozens, more times that week. Part 5, The Secret the City Keeps. I confronted Magdalene in the Drowning Pearl. She was drinking something dark and watching the news reports. 12 double suicides that day. 15 the day before. The season of binding was becoming the season of unbinding, and the city had never been healthier. You knew, I said. You've always known. Of course I knew. She didn't look at me. I'm 400 years old, Adeliza. I've seen this happen before. Every few centuries, when the city starts to fade, the weddings begin. Erosion appears. He's not a deity. He's a function. Something Mesmoralia creates to serve this purpose. And the couples sacrifice themselves, and we get another few hundred years of twilight. And you let it happen. What choice do I have? Now she looked at me, and her eyes, those full, human eyes she'd somehow kept, were tired. You want me to evacuate the city? Where would we go? Mesmoralia exists outside normal geography. It's a pocket dimension, a holding cell for people and souls that don't fit anywhere else. If it collapses, we don't return to the regular world. We just end. So you feed it lovers. The city feeds itself. She lit a cigarette. I just don't interfere. And yes, before you ask, that makes me complicit. That makes me monstrous. I've made my peace with it. Have you? She didn't answer. Erosion landed on the bar next to us, his wings knocking over bottles. He ordered something impossible, a drink made from the last breath of the dying, and the bartender served it without question. Don't judge us too harshly, little moth, Erosion said, his child angel face flickering to skull and back. We're all trapped in Mesmoralia's logic. The city needs to eat. The couples want to be consumed. And people like you, like Magdalene, you need the city to continue. Because without it, you'd have to remember what you were running from. I don't remember what I was running from, I said. Exactly. He drained his drink. It smoked as it went down his throat. That's what Mesmoralia does. It makes forgetting easier than remembering. It makes dying together seem romantic instead of tragic. It makes everything almost beautiful, almost meaningful, almost enough. Almost, I repeated. Almost. He spread his wings, preparing to fly. But almost is all we get. And some people, most people, find that preferable to the certainly terrible. He flew away, and I heard gunshots. More couples falling in love past the point of survival. Madame Future appeared in the doorway, her third eye weeping steadily. The secret the city keeps, she said to me, isn't that it feeds on love-death. That's just mechanics. The real secret is worse. Tell me. It doesn't need to. Her three eyes focused on me simultaneously. The weddings, the suicides, they would buy Mesmoralia a a few centuries at most. But the city has existed for millennia, which means this has happened before, many times before, hundreds of times. She stepped closer, which means somewhere in Mesmoralia, buried under the streets, compressed into the foundations, there are thousands of dead lovers, tens of thousands, all that combined devotion, all those wedding vows and murder-love bullets and hands held during the fall. They're down there. They're still down there. And they're still bound. Still bound. Death didn't separate them, Madame Future whispered. The city won't let it. They're trapped in their togetherness, crushed into the infrastructure, their love converted into foundation stones and street corners and the mortar between bricks. Every building in Mesmoralia is made from dead devotion. I looked around the bar, the walls, the floor, the ceiling. We live in a mass grave, I said. We live in a monument, Magdalene corrected quietly, to the power of love and the hunger of cities and the things people will sacrifice when they're given a meaning. Any meaning, even if that meaning is being food. Part 6, the season continues. The season of binding continued for 3 more months. I watched couple after couple climb the bridges, the towers, the high places. I watched Erosion reload and reload and reload. I watched the doves fall like apocalyptic snow until the streets were layered in feathers and tiny bones. Madame Future's third eye never stopped weeping. Magdalene collected the souls of the jumpers. They came to her afterward, still holding hands, still bound, asking to be stored together. She kept them in double-wide bottles. Berkeley lent baked bread, infused with the city's renewed energy. People ate it and remembered being in love, remembered promising forever to someone, remembered the moment before the fall. And I walked through Mesmoralia, feeling the city pulse beneath my feet. All those dead lovers, all that compressed devotion, holding everything up. One night, I found a poster that hadn't been there before. Lost, the ability to die alone reward. Unclear if found. Please return to Mesmoralia. We'll know what to do with it. I stood before it as the gaslights flickered their breathing rhythm. Somewhere above, Erosion was flying, his Glock loaded with fresh devotion. Somewhere below, thousands of bound dead pressed against each other for eternity. And somewhere in between, in the fold between twilight and dawn, in the city that survived on sacrifice and called it romance, the weddings continued. Because what happens in Mesmoralia stays in Mesmoralia, not by choice, but because the city is built from people who stayed, who bound themselves, who dove together into the void thinking that togetherness would save them. And in a way, it did. It saved them from being forgotten. It turned them into pavement, into walls, into the very bones of eternal twilight. And if you listen closely, late at night, when the doves have stopped falling, you can hear them whispering, all those thousands of lovers crushed together in the foundations. They're still saying their vows. They're still promising forever. season of binding ended the way it always ends, with silence, with stillness, with the city slightly stronger and the sky slightly darker, and me standing in the street, trying to remember if I came to Mesmoralia alone, or if there was someone once, someone I'd bound myself to, someone I'd. But no, I would remember that, wouldn't I? Unless forgetting was part of the price, unless I was already part of the foundation, unless this is what it feels like to be load-bearing architecture. The city pulses. I pulse back, and somewhere, Erosion reloads.